I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to own my own business. Like, black man owning his own business is like the definition of success from where I come from. And a lot of places in the world. I mean, especially in the United States, as a capitalist society, you want to be able to generate your own source of income and be self sufficient. My name is Cameron J. Evans. The name of my business, CJ Evans Financial Consulting. Basically, I started out doing work with small business, municipal government, doing consulting work, basically replacing their financial department with a contractor. And then I also did personal taxes, individual taxes, small business. And also, when I moved to Winston-Salem, my business transitioned to personal finance consulting for individuals. So I started the business in 2013, and I had the goal of finding more ways to make money, multiple streams of revenue. I've always been ambitious, wanted to do better for myself, and I spoke to my uncle one day, and we were just catching up on the phone. He was telling me about how he did his tax business, how he started, how successful he is right now. And he's like, you can start your own on that side. And this was when I was in South Carolina. So I just next year just bought the tech software. He was like, okay, well, I'll guide you through everything. It's not going to be that difficult. So bought the tech software and kind of just ran with it. Contacted people that I knew first in my circle and say, hey, I'm doing taxes. Of course, they asked me how much I charged. That was hard to figure out because I shortchanged myself in the beginning. But then year after year, it just slowly developed into a more professional service, a more professional image. I used different tactics as like advertising on Angie's List, picked up a bunch of different clients there. This wasn't until Winston-Salem. So let me backtrack a little bit. When I was in South Carolina, it was up until 2016 while I was full-time doing my business in Winston-Salem. So this is when I really hit the ground running. This is, all or nothing. I quit my job, took a leap of faith, said, hey, I'm going to make it either way. I don't care how this comes out. I already had kids, got married, and I was just out there every day, full time with the business, trying to get the income in. And I was living off of my retirement I had from the previous job. This is my very first job. I've been working for 6 years. So I was running off of the retirement that I cashed in to basically invest in myself. In August of 2016, I quit my job. And basically, because they were a small municipality in Estill, South Carolina, what I did was I contracted my position out to myself as my company. I told them I was leaving, and I offered to render my services in the meantime, and also to offer to train a new person that was coming in with everything I knew about. So they'd be like, it wouldn't be a missing piece. It would be an easy transition. That's what I wanted to offer them. Because, of course, I cared about the company a whole lot. I spent 6 years and, did a lot of building there. But I had gotten to the point where it's like, okay, I need to make a transition. I need to grow on from this. I don't just want to do this. I want to build me a business. These are the aspirations that a lot of people talk about. Like, I'll own my own business. I'd have real estate. This is just the capitalist mindset. So I had to take suit at some point, and it was in 2016 when I decided to do that. Everything started out great. I made money contracting with the town. After we cut ties, I was in Winston-Salem full time. I wasn't traveling back and forth. And that's when I looked into where my passions were. All the time that I spent right before I even took this leap of faith, I spent time prepping for the leap. Like I just didn't like decide, hey, next week, next month, I'm gonna stop working here and just do my best. I had prepped for this maybe like 2 years ahead, just trying to get it in my head, wrap it around, making it work, the mechanics of it, worst case scenario, best case. Of course, that's what I was going for, but preparing for worst case. So took the leap and everything was going good. I transitioned the business into personal finance because I found, hey, this is what I want to do. I feel like I can provide some service to people wanting to seek how to better manage their money, to grow, and more into and in tune with financial literacy. Because what I saw when I grew up was that my mom and my grandma and my great grandma, they didn't know a ton about the best ways to manage their money or how to make their money grow, how to, properly invest it in different vehicles. So I spent time studying all of that stuff, and I wanted to render it as a service to other people. But the hardship that I ran into was that people, or maybe it was the way I structured the business, people weren't really looking. Like they talk about, hey, well, I want to do this and I want to do that. But when it was presented into their face, like they didn't really want to pay for it. They kind of, I guess they wanted like to get the freebies, and then even with the freebies, like people don't even apply the principles. The lessons learned are huge for me because, even going through this whole process kind of allowed me to understand who I am and then tweak at the same time what my next venture will be. Because so right now, like, I'm living in Maryland, Capitol Heights, Maryland. I moved here, my wife's family is from here. And already I just feel like there's a better opportunity here just in general. Like there's more things to do, like more people to meet, larger network. So lessons learned is that, if I never even got out there to see how things would work, then I wouldn't be able to cross things off the list. So like, it's like, okay, I feel like personally that for me and for what I was doing, Winston's isn't big enough to really get things moving at the magnitude you want them to move. Winston was more so like my training ground for me to kind of get things out of my head. Like, okay, I like doing personal finance, but maybe I need to frame personal finance in some way, like, pro humanitate, like I'm giving away a service, I'm providing this service out of my heart so that it gives me good karma coming back. You know what I mean? My name is Cameron Evans, and I'm from Gifford, South Carolina. A lot of people don't know where Gifford is because it's very small in the low country of South Carolina. My business is in personal finance and tax. We're a subscription-based service that provides basically personal finance education to individuals. We target women of color, Black and brown, because those are the people that usually are forgotten as far as being educated in personal finances. During this time, while I'm making this video, I'm thinking of myself like, I'm about to change the world with, this idea, it's not like a novel idea, but it's like, okay, the heart that I'm going to put in this, I'm going to change, and touch as many people as possible. And at the same time, if I'm doing something I love, I should be able to make the money, right? So that's the model. I didn't even have like the business model all put together, and it wasn't in action because you can write a business model and a plan all day long, but you real time, you're like edit, cancel that, add this, try this, don't work, try something else. So like, business, having a straight out business model, business plan is just for like a scrappy entrepreneur, like trying to start up. It's just is what it is, a guideline. Business, entrepreneurship, and personal life all has to be intertwined. in order for you to have like this synergy. Like you need a synergy in order for every level to work. That's going to be the greatest you. So you can't be all great, you know, in business, and then you're terrible in the personal life, because your business won't thrive long term. You know, you can't be all great in the personal life and then you just sucky in the business. I mean, you could be all great in personal life and then live a good life, but it won't be the entrepreneurial state that you want. But, you know, finding that bond, that synergy, and to hit on all cylinders is going to create, you know, good forward motion for you and your success. So this first, like in that video, I was, like I said, you know, not hitting on all those cylinders. Like my time is more precious now. I know things I need to do. I still want to do the business, like I said before, but I don't want to tie up my time as much. I want to have control over my time. I had mentors in school, and, you know, as I went along the way, but a lot of people, it's like, you know, now people say, you know, I spend time unlearning what I've learned. So I've spent time taking people away from the mentor title, I guess, like, you know, because I've outgrown them. And in my hunt in Winston-Salem, especially, like, so there are great people in Winston-Salem, and the great people exist in those places, like, you know, anywhere that was around entrepreneurship, anywhere that was around Hustle Winston-Salem, anywhere that was around Venture Cafe. Those were supporting people that were, you know, uplifting, especially like the administration of those organizations, always uplifting you, always trying to give you the upper edge, you know, giving you opportunity, giving you thoughts, bringing you into the picture, into the room as much as possible, giving you as much opportunities as possible. Like, you know, those are great people in those organizations. But what I would say is, like, you know, a lot of the more established people, because everybody in those organizations are like building up, you know, they're trying to get their business going, or either they're trying to make sure other people are getting their business going. But the people who had already had businesses, or that had been like wholly successful, in my opinion, I don't think they were like very helpful. Like, you know, I feel like people, if it were me, like if I was hugely successful, like, you know, maybe I would choose mentees, you know, maybe I would be more hands-on to try and give out that goodwill, you know, that I was talking about earlier. But to each his own, like, you know, people maybe feel like that ain't something they want to do. So I just feel like it could be more like people who've already been established and made themselves whole and have had tremendous success, that they could grab more people like me. When my business was not doing well, I had to essentially pivot. So the way that it was working wasn't working for me, and I needed to make a transition. So when I found myself, okay, I'm going to stop doing this personal finance thing this way. I'm going to take a step back from the canvas and reevaluate everything. I'm going to reevaluate it all. In me stepping back from the canvas, and of course, because I was running out of money, because like I said, this was like full-time on a business that I'm building, I tried to find jobs in Winston-Salem, and the jobs just were not, you know, as available. Man, you say, you know, when I started back, like, and I was reluctant. I was like, you know, because in the video I even say, you know, even if I lost it all, you know, I'm gonna find a way to make it, right? So even with that, I was reluctant to go to work. I was ready. I don't know what my mind was thinking, but I was so engaged. I was ready to like lose it all. Like, you know, if it had to be that way, we could just make it somehow. We could make it somehow. And my wife started saying like, hey, I don't want to live on the streets, you know? So you got to do something. Like, you know, she was teaching, but at the same time, we needed to have like two incomes, like the bills, I mean, student loans and all that other stuff, you still gotta make those payments. I got to Winston full time in 2016, towards the end of 2016, and we moved to Maryland December 2018. And I picked up a job at Bank of America because I'm like, okay, well, I was in sales, and then they offered a job that was gonna be like consulting people on their personal finance. I'm like, wow, you know what I'm saying? It's like the perfect combination of what I want to do, and then I got sales experience, so I know I'll do good. Well, found out that that was like Bank of America's selling point. Like they wanted to help you with your finance, but they just wanted to unload all of their products onto the individual. So it wasn't more so looking at the individual and their welfare. It was like, okay, how can we maximize our product sales with this individual that's sitting in front of you? So even if, in my opinion, the sales structure, even if it didn't benefit them. So guess what? That didn't sit well with my spirit. So I moved on from there. Always keeping in mind that I wanna get a different business, and I'm thinking about the business. Like I say, I wiped everything clean. I'm thinking about what I want to do. So I'm just going through the flow. Like I'm just going with it. Like however to survive, to make sure my kids are good, to make sure my relationship is good, my wife's good, our family's good. Family's first. So I'm thinking about business, but I'm just going with the flow. I started thinking about things that would provide security for me. Like, okay, because I have a family, what can I do to provide me some type of fallback? What can I do to increase my network? What can I do that's going to help the overall bottom line with everything that I got going on? While I'm rethinking about what I'm going to do as an entrepreneur, how can I secure my family's welfare? And that's when it got into the picture about Maryland Army National Guard, because of course, even though I would have to do like the basic training and AIT, that would be a one-time deal. And then I would just be doing like 1 weekend a month and then 2 weeks of training per year. So it wouldn't take all of my time. I would still be able to have the flexibility I need. Like I would be with my family. I would be able to do my own thing too, all in the time of working with National Guard and getting the perks of being, a military member, Army. So yeah, that's where I am now. And tomorrow, tomorrow I'll be going off the basic training. Tomorrow afternoon. Matter of fact, tomorrow afternoon I'll go to MEPS, which is the processing station. And then that morning I'll be shipped out. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to own my own business. Like, Black man owning his own business is like the definition of success from where I come from. And a lot of places in the world. I mean, especially in the United States, as a capitalist society, you want to be able to generate your own source of income and be self-sufficient. So, yeah, I still want to be an entrepreneur. What is developed is I want to make sure like I have a wall or a foundation of security first, and I'm able to accumulate funds and enough money to kind of develop and do what I want to do and start ground up the appropriate way. Like I've done, several different kind of businesses, so I know what like I need to do to get it done. Like I said before, I always had the ideas and like I say, tweaking and adjusting to make sure what the next venture will be ideal for not only me, for my family. So I'm looking at, even now, I'm like, well, what if we did something that we actually love, like to do, and formulate the business around, something that we love to do, but something that is gonna have all of the, the perks, the luxuries, if you will, to see even if that exists. So I've been working more so like with my wife and bouncing ideas off of her versus just doing it solely on myself. Us keeping in mind what we want from life alone. Because guess what? Like, who wants to work all of their life, and then, when you finally get to the point of retirement, you're talking about like, what, 65 normal retirement, like 65, some people wait to 70. How many more good years do you have to live? And you spent the bulk of your time doing something that you hated. You spent the bulk of your time losing experiences of other people's life or lives. Let's say my kids, like, I spent all this time working hard to get something, and then I don't even know them. I don't know who they became. I got lost in the sauce, trying to make the sauce. The only thing is going to be what product-based business I'm going to do. And when I get back, I'm going to kind of like jump on that, at least creating the LLC, and then formulating the business slowly but surely. That's where I am, and making sure I'm buckled down financially. I have a great foundation financially, security for the family, and then I'm moving back towards, getting to entrepreneurship. Everything that I gained came from the hardship I experienced. Like, the knowledge, like where I am now mentally, came from all the failures. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it just is what it is. When you jump out there, like they say, I was mad at Steve Harvey one time because I read his book, Jump. That's the reason why I jumped too. I was like, man, this dude don't even know what he's talking about, because this ain't go good for me. But see, retrospect, hindsight 2020, I'm like, dang, this was the only way for me to find out. Like, I couldn't have this mental state unless I took the jump. When you take the jump, like you said, you might not land appropriately. You might land on the edge of the cliff, break a leg and an arm. You're gonna you'll heal up, but it's gonna be some pain. And that's exactly what it is. But the clarity for me is much more. I know exactly what I want to do. Like, I have a laser focus. Like, I'm aimed. I'm ready to go. Like, and I know what path I need to follow. So I don't know I don't think I would change anything. I just, just run them up. Just let it happen however it happened. And then the aftermath is what you look for.